People are interested in spirits and the soul all over the world, everywhere. I think Americans, rather than just believing that they're there, because they are, that maybe when we die there is something that can remain and that we do have a soul, but rather than Americans just believing that as part of their faith, we question it. I think people want to know what happens when we die. The Driskill is the most haunted hotel in Texas. You can consistently find numerous people working, staying there that have had some experience. And so who doesn't love the Driskill?
This hotel was built in 1885, finished in 1886. And the man that built it really had a heart for making a beautiful hotel. He used the best stone, made the largest Texas doors. I believe that he built it with lots of love. His spirit will always be here. I believe that's why they smell the cigar that he used to love to smoke. I believe when we're doing a lot of work, he comes to see what we're doing to this place.
Well, I think whenever you have a historic hotel, this hotel is 122 years old, there's a lot of unexplained happenings that you probably could find. Well, it's a bad electrical system, or any number of things can happen in an old building. I think people are fascinated with things that are mysteries that they can't explain. Almost everyone that has been in Austin any length of time has a story about the Driskill. At different times, I've certainly thought someone was standing behind me as I'm working, only to turn around and there not be anyone. And I think most of the employees here have reported that, is that you just kind of accept it and go on with it. And it adds character, it adds charm, and it adds stories.
I've heard stories of there was a gal that just recently quit, but her first day, she was walking through the mezzanine inside, and we have some rocking chairs that usually are in the mezzanine, but they took them off of it due to weather. And when she walked in, 5 of them were not rocking, and the 6th one was. So that freaked her out to see that.
There was, as you know, with our legislature meeting every 2 years, there was a senator who was living here during the legislative session with his family, had a little girl, and she was playing on the mezzanine level with a little rubber ball, and the ball bounced down the stairs, and she followed the ball down and unfortunately tripped and fell to her death on the landing of the stairs. Over the years, that's been one of the most reported spirits here, has been the sound of a little child's laughter. Many times guests have reported hearing children and go out to open the door to kind of wonder what's going on and not see a child. We've had front desk agents, our reservation staff, that have been out front late at night hearing a child and wondering what parents let their child downstairs without them, never to see a child. So the laughter of children is often heard, again, late at night and when there's no children anywhere to be found. In the Maximilian room, which is on the mezzanine level, we have a set of 8 mirrors in there, and those were actually made for Emperor Maximilian whenever he was in rule in Mexico. His wife Carlotta went back to Europe to sit for them, and her bust is at the top of each of the 8 mirrors. Unfortunately, there was the revolution, and Maximilian was overthrown and assassinated before Carlotta returned from Europe. So those mirrors had been completed and were packed up and shipped, and when they got to New Orleans, were held in New Orleans because there was Maximilian and Carlotta were not in Mexico City. They've never hung anywhere but the Driskill Hotel. A lot of people have reported seeing an image of a woman in white. These are the infinity mirrors. They go on forever whenever you look into one of them. A lot of our guests, a lot of the employees have reported seeing just this glance of a woman in white or a shadowy figure in white. There's no correlation to Carlotta. She was never here. Maximilian was never here. They were never in Austin, as far as we know. Rarely do you have a guest that seems to be turned off by it, or say, more than that, we have guests that call here and want to stay in a haunted room, or they're asking for the ghost stories. So it's just one of those things that people are fascinated with, whether or not they're true believers, whether or not they've ever had an experience. It's kind of fun to talk about.
Consciousness is tricky, and consciousness is what animates life, and so it's hard to really know what it's capable of. And I don't think that consciousness is totally imprisoned in the gross physical world and flesh and blood. I think that it's far stranger than that. And so I could definitely see why conscious moments in the past could still be fluttering around, So I do believe, I believe in ghosts.
We talk about, we see on other TV shows, we read about spirits that don't want to leave for whatever reason. They don't want to cross over into that next life. And I think that this is a beautiful place. You have guests that they never want to leave.
If there are ghosts, there's probably a lot of them floating around. And they, maybe staying in a barn or in someone's attic isn't always the most comfy place. Maybe the most luxurious hotel in Austin is the place you're going to want to go. Think about Texas pride and the deep sense of attachment that there is to this Texas pride. You think about how people really love the land here. There's a lot already there to see why someone might not want to leave. People love Texas, and maybe some people like Texas more than they like heaven. I don't know. So I struck up a conversation with her, and she was telling me that she could see the walls breathing. And I was like, oh.
Become a Docublogger. Log on to Docubloggers.org to share your opinions and story ideas, or get out your camera and create your own Docublog.